Hey skiers and boarders of the Southeast, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich with your Ski Southeast weather update as we go into the weekend. Here's a live look right now from resort cams up at Beach Mountain. You can see a lot of folks hitting the slopes there at the top of the mountain. Nice corduroy. They got groomed slopes right now. A little bit of ice on the camera, but it is beautiful right now across most of the higher elevations of West Virginia, Maryland, and especially North Carolina. As current conditions show, it is a chilly start. We've got great conditions this morning, high pressure and control, kind of a bluebird kind of day. But as we go into the weekend, we are going to see warmer temperatures. Now, that's not always bad news. In this case, there's so much good snow on the ground. This is going to be a great skiing weekend. Great travel conditions and great weather to ski in and great snow on the slopes. Don't expect to see any snowmaking or natural snow, but the conditions are going to be great. This is really going to be a great weekend for skiing. For folks that don't like skiing in frigid temperatures or brutally cold wind chills, this is the type of weekend for you. You can see the warm front back to the west, and this is why we're going to see a warm-up. We've got a big flow of southwest winds, and with this high sitting here, the clockwise flow around it, the combination of the two gives us the good old blowtorch here across the southeast. So we look at the GFS model. We've got a big low over eastern Canada. We've got a front approaching from the west. That's going to keep us warm this weekend. I doubt we're going to see much in the way of precipitation. I think this is overdoing some of the moisture there. But there might be some sprinkles in the morning, Saturday morning, and even Sunday morning, some drizzle with some low clouds. But for the most part, it's a beautiful weekend. Now, this front that's going to be sagging to the south over the weekend eventually is going to start bringing rain to even the highest elevations by the end of the weekend into early next week. We'll go through Sunday, and that front starts sagging down to the south, and you start to see the moisture developing from West Virginia down to North Carolina. This is going to be a cold rain late Sunday. So if you're skiing Sunday late in the day, it's going to get a little cloudy, and there might be a few sprinkles around, especially on the drive home. The real rain starts to pick up on Monday as that front kind of moves down and then stalls. And here's the problem. This front, while it's not super warm, it's warm enough that it's likely going to be rain. It stalls to our south on Monday, and as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, it looks like we get into a really wet pattern. We get a wave of low pressure coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, there's a chance it might be just cold enough up here in West Virginia and Maryland that we might see a little snow mix in. So I don't think this will be all rain, but this is likely going to be rain down here in North Carolina as this low approaches. This is a good soaking rain. You can see the chances a little bit of snow up there as we get wedged in just a hint here. So I'm a little bit more optimistic for West Virginia, and Western Maryland that we might see some wintry weather. But here in North Carolina, I'm not real optimistic this is going to be wintry. It's looking like it's going to be a really miserable cold rain, and heavy at that, through the middle of the week. So next week, not looking like the best week for ski conditions as far as making snow or man-made snow, because the low track is so far to the west. Now, if this low was to shift east and track up in this direction, we might have a whole different story here. So there's still an outside possibility that could happen. So I don't want to be all doom and gloom. And just to, so we don't think that the season's over after this storm, on the back side of it late next week, we do get some cold air to spill back in on the backside, and this monster low should help produce some northwest flow snow and maybe even some little dynamic lifting here with the little basically the deformation zone on the backside of the system might be close enough that it clips, especially West Virginia and Maryland next week. So it's not all bad news next week, but it certainly does not look like a great pattern early in the week, and certainly something I'm going to keep an eye on. But just so you know, looking long range, I started looking long range into late February, early March, and we start to see a lot more cold air building up here in Canada. And so I don't think the ski season is going to end prematurely. This just looks to be a little bump in the road, because March is going to come in like a lion. I'm talking maybe the coldest air of the season possible. If you start looking at some of the long-range stuff the first week of March, a big dump of Arctic air tries to come down in the eastern half of the country, and the potential we could get one of these southern branch systems to crank up. So don't put your skis away yet. We might actually still get some skiing well into March. I hope you have a great ski weekend. Enjoy the Bluebird Day today and tomorrow. A little bit of cloud cover and maybe a few sprinkles on Sunday, but all in all, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great weekend. Hit the slopes. As always, think snow.